So body recomposition is just a term that stands for basically losing body fat and gaining muscle at the same time. So you're recomping your body. And this is typically seen in people who are newer to training, right? If they haven't, trained in the sense of, focusing on building muscle in the past, if they're new to that, they have a lot of potential to recomp their body because it's a completely new stimulus to them. So that's one group of people. If you're newer to training, if you're just a beginner who's never really focused on exercise before or training before, if you're someone who's coming back from an injury, like you haven't trained in a while or coming back from an injury, that's another group of people who are really kind of in that category of being able to have the best success with body recomposition. If you're someone who is on anabolic steroids, you'll also be able to benefit from body recomposition. So those are kind of the main categories where people who basically try to lose body fat and build muscle at the same time, they're gonna get kind of the best results from that. And what that looks like is you're basically eating around your maintenance caloric intake or in a very slight deficit, and you're building muscle and losing fat at the same time. The category of people who have a little bit of a harder time, quote unquote, recomping or losing body fat and building muscle at the same time are those who are more advanced, because they've been, training for a long period of time. They've been doing this for a period of time where their body actually needs a little bit more to get the same result. So that's when we hear, people going through fat loss phases or surplus or gaining phases or bulking phases, because they've kind of squeezed out all of their body recomposition potential. So they actually have to now focus on one goal for a period of time, and then they transition to the other goal for another period of time, right? So if you are more advanced and you're looking to continue to change your body composition, you actually might need to go into a building phase, a muscle building phase for a period of time, focus on eating enough calories, putting yourself in maybe a slight surplus, and really, really focus on dialing in on your training and, staying there for a while, because building muscle takes a long time. So typically for my clients, I never, put a client through a building phase unless it's a minimum of 6 months. That's like the bare minimum. So it really takes time to build muscle. And then you're probably, within that, you will put on a little bit of body fat, because it's practically impossible to put on muscle mass without putting on a little bit of body fat as well. But once you finish with that phase, then if you want to go into a fat loss phase, now that's your new goal. You're primarily focusing on fat loss, which means you have to get into a calorie deficit while still maintaining what you're doing in the gym. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make, is if they switch to a fat loss phase, they think they need to change their training in the gym, but you actually don't want to do that. You want to continue to train as if your main goal is to build muscle, because that's going to send that signal to your body that says, hey, I need to hold on to this muscle while I'm losing the body fat so that I don't lose the muscle along with the body fat. So within that, those are kind of just cycling through stages of, building, or maybe you're at maintenance for a little while and then you go into a fat loss phase. But in terms of body recomposition, if you're newer to training, if you're coming off of an injury or a period of time, or if you're on anabolic steroids, that would be the main categories that have the best potential for body recomposition. And then one caveat there, though, is that if you are someone who maybe you have been training for a long time and maybe you have been paying attention to your nutrition for a long time, but you haven't been paying attention to other lifestyle factors, like you haven't been paying attention to your sleep or stress management, and those have just been completely out of whack, sometimes once you just start to get those in check, you're actually going to put yourself in a better place to potentially get some body recomp out of that, or squeeze some more body recomp out of that, because you've changed different lifestyle factors that are going on. So with my clients, for example, if they are, they have been lifting for a while and they have had their nutrition in check, but once we start to get their sleep dialed in, we start to get stress management dialed in, we start to pay attention to recovery more, those are the times where we do see body recomposition, even in someone who is more advanced in that regard. So with body recomposition, there's no black and white answers here, but typically those are kind of the main categories I mentioned are the ones that you would, find the most success for focusing on two goals at once, which would be losing body fat and building muscle at the same time. But if you're more advanced, you're probably going to want to focus on one goal at a time so you can be most efficient with that goal and then move on to the next goal once you want to. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn more about nutrition, fitness, or metabolic flexibility, you can check out our website, metflexlife.com. There you can find our podcast, MetFlex and Chill, our nutrition and exercise programs, our latest blog posts, free recipes, and much more.